Whether or not you're actually making progress is a big question for beginner language learners, and it is something that people do worry about a lot. You know, am I actually making progress towards being able to speak a language? So I thought I'd make a video on it, kind of helping, you know, if you are actually making progress, if you're not, and really how to stop worrying about it. So basically the problem is that you feel as if you're not making progress in your language, and that's very common. A lot of people do have that feeling. And my promise for this video is that at the end, you will know how to make progress in learning a language, and you won't have to worry about wasting time. So you'll know if your kind of anxiety about whether or not you're making progress is well-founded, or if it is actually, you know, just like a silly worry where you're not actually, you are making progress and you're worrying about nothing effectively. So yeah, if you do like high quality educational videos like this one, I would recommend you like and subscribe. But yeah, without wasting your time, let's get on to the video. So just a quick structure, we're going to outline the problem first, and then we're going to talk about the two solutions, and then just a quick summary at the end. So it shouldn't be too long of a video, but basically here we go. So the problem, which is why you're here, is that you don't feel as if you are making progress in learning a language. So this could be anything from you feel like you're wasting time, you feel like you can't memorize new words or grammar rules, you keep making irritating mistakes, or you just haven't really improved at reading or speaking or anything recently, or a host of other things. It's basically any form of you don't feel like you're actually getting any better even though you're investing time. And that's really annoying. I can understand that. I'm going to explain it in a fun diagram on the next page, but basically the problem is that you're anxious, you're probably feeling angry, sad, stressed, that kind of thing, because you don't feel as if you're making proper progress. You might even sit down to learn sometimes, and then very quickly you get up and you're, you know, kind of angry and emotional because you just feel like you're wasting your time. So I've kind of explained it in a fun diagram. This is basically how it goes, and don't stop me, but this is probably how it goes for you. So this is you at the start here. You invest time to learn a language, time is valuable. Follow the arrow. So we're starting top left going to here. After you've invested time to learn a language, you want to see results for your time, because obviously time is valuable. You don't want to be investing time into something and getting nothing out of it. You don't see results as good or fast as you'd like, so either you're not learning fast enough or you're just not as good at it as you'd expect. They're both kind of the same thing. And because of that, you worry, you're doing this wrong, you're wasting time, you're doing the wrong things, so you might as well not try at all. And then you want to give up because you've wasted your time. So you effectively go from wanting to learn a language to trying to learn a language to expecting results, not getting the results you expected, and then getting angry and eventually giving up because you're not getting the results you expect and you think you're wasting your time. So the problem is stress is actually the symptom. It's not the problem. So you might have come here because you're worrying about wasting time language learning, but that is actually the symptom. You're stressed because of something else, and the real problem can be one of two things. So either your expectations are unreasonable or you're not actually making progress. If your expectations are unreasonable, the reason you're angry, stressed, etc. is because you're expecting more of yourself than is actually reasonable, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And if you aren't actually making progress, then your kind of anxiety is reasonable and you're not doing something that's very important, which we will also address. So before we go into the solutions, I just want to point out, where does the problem actually start on our diagram? The problem starts here. So there's nothing wrong with you being you, obviously. There's nothing wrong with investing time to learn a language. Time is in fact very valuable. It is the most valuable thing we have, and obviously there's nothing wrong with wanting to learn a language. Once we get into this part here, this is where the problems start to appear. So here, for example, you want to see results for your time. This kind of ties back to number one here, which is your expectations are unreasonable. So whether you admit it to yourself or not, you obviously have some kind of expectation. You want to learn a language within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, anything like that. And you've subconsciously set yourself a goal or an expectation. So if you've learned for 6 months, for example, and you're not at where you thought you would be after 6 months, you're not as good as you thought you'd be, you'd naturally feel a little bit angry because you just, you know, it's frustrating when you're not as good as you want to be. So that here, you want to see results for your time, ties back to this first one here. The second one, which is you're not actually making progress, starts one stage later at about here. So you don't see results as good or fast as you'd like. This can be because of the first one, where we've just said, you want to see results for your time and you're not seeing results as good or fast as you'd like, but it can also be because you genuinely aren't seeing results because you're doing something horribly wrong and you're not learning properly. So those are the two things we're going to address now. So as I said before, stress is a symptom. The real problem is one of these two things. Here are the solutions to them. So the thing about there being two potential problems is that you kind of need two potential solutions. And I want you guys to kind of do both of these things regardless of whether you think it's one or the other, because it probably is a bit of both. So here's what you're going to do to fix basically this whole this whole annoying problem. You're going to manage unreasonable expectations. That gets rid of the first one, and you're going to stop stalling your progress, which gets rid of the second one. So if you can implement both of these things, you won't be worrying about not seeing results good enough, because you'll know exactly what to expect, and you'll be able to be happy and meet your goals. And you also won't have like really slow progress, because you'll be able to progress. So both of these things together is really, really good. You'll be able to progress fast. So first things first, managing unreasonable expectations. I have already made a full video on language learning goals, which I'll have pop up on the screen, and I'll also have a link in the description for you to watch after this one. I would highly recommend you check it out. But just basically to address this first problem, to manage unreasonable expectations is actually fairly straightforward. So some form of goal setting / expectation is extremely important to keep you on track for learning. You probably shouldn't really go in without any idea of what you want. Obviously, I presume you want to learn the language, but that means different things for different people. And yeah, almost everyone, and this is almost definitely you, it's actually me as well, even though I have already learnt. I am kind of an expert as far as learning second languages go. I have done it before. So the problem is that you likely have unreasonable expectations, and this isn't your fault. A lot of it is because of social media, with all the videos that are like, oh, learn a language in 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, etc. And they're all just clickbait rubbish to try and get you to get maximum views, but they aren't actually correct. So you do have very likely very unreasonable expectations for the amount of time it will take to learn a language. So language learning is a very tedious and long-term process. Get that into your head. There aren't many cheats or hacks to getting better quickly. You do need to invest and kind of play it for the long term. So I've said this before, if you are learning a second language and you only know like English or one language, you are likely looking at 1 year minimum if you're learning a very similar language. I believe it took me about 18 months to learn Italian from being a native English speaker and not really having anybody to help me. So it is, and that Italian is a pretty easy language. So if you're learning a hard language like Japanese or Mandarin or anything like that as a second language, it's going to take even longer. So yeah, it does vary person to person, but don't expect yourself to learn like a second language within 1 month or anything silly like that. That's not going to happen. So here is what you need to do to actually manage unreasonable expectations. So you need to set soft goals over hard goals, and I'll explain that really quick. As I said before, I have explained it very well in a video, but I'm going to explain it fast now. So soft goals are basically input focus. An example would be, I'm going to study 3 hours a week. A hard goal is output focus, which is I'm going to be fluent in X amount of time, 1 year, 2 years, 1 month if you're being ridiculous, that kind of thing. The key difference between soft goals and hard goals is control. So with a soft goal, if you say I'm going to study 3 times a week, you have complete control over that. Obviously, sometimes you might be busy, someone might say, but as a general rule, if you say I'm going to study once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, anything like that, you have complete control because you're setting aside time to put into studying. The thing that makes that different from a hard goal is that hard goals are output focused, and you can't control how good you are after a certain amount of time. If you study for 1 year, you might be really good, you might still be quite not good at learning a language, and you can't really change that. That's just how your brain works and how you've learned. So because you don't have control over hard goals, setting them can be kind of irritating because you could be completely off. Like for example, if I started YouTube and I had no idea how many subscribers is reasonable after a year, and I said I want to have 100,000 subscribers after a year, and I didn't make it to that, I'd be really annoyed because I, wasn't able to meet that goal. But the thing is, when I set that goal, because I hadn't had a YouTube channel before and I had 0 subscribers effectively, it wouldn't be reasonable of me to set that goal because I don't know how many subscribers you get on a week-to-week basis and that kind of thing. If, however, I said I'm going to make 1 video every week for the whole year, that would actually be doable because I could meet that goal every week or most weeks if I didn't have something on. And then however many subscribers I had at the end of the year was irrelevant because I know I met my goal. So that's why you want to set soft goals, not hard goals. So how do we do this? You can set any kind of soft goal. You can set it times. You can say I'm going to study a few hours a week, or I'm going to study once a day for half an hour, anything like that. It's up to you the kind of goal you want to set. As a general rule, more is better, and we'll talk about that on the 2.2 boosting your progress part of this solution. But yeah, setting soft goals is generally better. Set a goal that you can actually control on a short-term basis, like how much you're going to study per week, and you will not be as disappointed because you're able to control that. And at the end of the year, if you say I'm going to study 4 hours every week, and you do that, basically at the end of the year, whatever you have, is what you deserve because you have met your goal. So yeah, set an input goal, not an output goal, because with an input goal, you can control that. With an output goal, you won't know if you're meeting it or not. But yeah, that's basically it. 2.2, stop the stall. So it's also very possible that your progress is stalling and it is worse than what it should be. It's actually likely as well. So we're going to fix that too. That's why I said it's probably a combination of both of these things, because you likely have both. And I know I still have both because I'm always finding ways to learn better and that kind of thing. So there isn't really a cheat code to learning faster. Most videos like that are complete BS. There is no like secret hack to learning very, very fast. But what there is actually, which is kind of secret, is a lot of common sense tips that people don't often talk about because they don't really get views. So they are kind of secret in that sense, not because they're so magical and special, but just because everyone chases fast results. And so the actual things that are useful don't really get talked about. But these are the kind of set of habits that you should be implementing to learn as well as possible. So consistent learning, as I said before, set soft goals and stick to them. You want to be learning, like frequently. If you take weeks off and that kind of thing, it's going to be very difficult to remember things and improve. So you want to be learning a few times a week, probably at a minimum, once a week at an absolute minimum, but you won't really learn that fast if you do that. So I would say a couple times a week if you can. Repetition as well is also extremely important. Don't think you're going to learn a concept once and then immediately know it. You need to learn it a few times and then constantly read about it and talk about it to actually get it into your brain. That's how you learn English after all. Enjoy yourself as well. Learn things that interest you. So although I will talk about structure in a second, as you can see it's in gold on the bottom of the slide, it is very important to kind of enjoy yourself and learn things that do interest you. So one thing I would say is when you're advanced enough, you can literally find Wikipedia pages on things you enjoy and switch it to the language you're learning and just read, even if you can't understand every word, and you can highlight, copy, paste, Google Translate things that you really want to know. But that is a good way to learn because you're learning about things, you're reading about something that actually interests you in another language, and that also goes for movies, books, that kind of thing as well. So make sure to enjoy yourself. It is an art as much as a science. It's not just about complicated grammar rules and stuff. It should be fun. And relax and focus as well. Concentration is one of the most important things with learning, as well as like just volume of learning, how much you learn. Concentrating is very, very important, and it increases your learning ability. So let go of the stress, just breathe, focus entirely when you're learning. If you're going to give 20 minutes to learning, give 20 minutes. Don't give 50% of 20 minutes, 50% effort for 20 minutes. Make sure you are actually learning. And then structure, I've put in gold. I have made a video fully on structure. I'll have a link in the description and I'll have it pop up on the screen right now as well. Structure is extremely important with learning. It's basically kind of like the things you're going to learn in the order you're going to learn them, kind of. So obviously, as I said, you can enjoy yourself and learn whatever you want at any time, but it is good to kind of have a plan of things in the order to learn them. So yeah, definitely check out the video on that. It is too complicated to explain in this video, but having structure is one of the best things you can do. So yeah, whoa, what is that on the screen? I don't even know how I put that there. Sorry about that, guys. So the bottom line is that there is plenty more to discuss really with increasing your language learning progress. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely check out the other content on my channel. I do make a lot of videos like this to try and help you guys. But yeah, the bottom line is you can and will make progress if you do not quit. Keep seeking out new knowledge and never surrender your goals because it's too hard. You most certainly can learn a language. There's no reason why you can't learn any language really in a reasonable amount of time. It might take a couple years, but yeah. So yeah, don't fall for any rubbish on the internet. If you do implement the things in this video, you will be better off, and it will help you with this kind of anxiety of worrying that you're wasting your time. So yeah, guys, if you are still here at the end, you're obviously highly intelligent and interested in that stuff. So I'd recommend you hit the subscribe button. I do make a lot of videos like this to try and help you. And yeah, I am grateful for it because it does make me feel good about all the work I put in for free. I do also have a free language learning Discord link in the description for people like you, and a link to my website with language learning resources and my coaching, which I also offer. So yeah, thank you for listening, guys, and have a good one.